Welcome everybody, my name is Michael or Kubera, and today we are discussing about whales, Bitcoin whales. Well, there has been some negativity recently as Bitcoin has fallen below $18,000 to 17,900. It's not as bad as it seems. These are small corrections, and I, for one, am actually happy that it's going this route. It's not a straight arrow, as I constantly keep repeating, because if it was like 2017 into January 2018, where it was just this huge bubble, a lot of people were making money really quickly, and then it all ran out, and then there was the crypto crash. So that did not seem great for institutional investors. And institutional investors are definitely some of these Bitcoin whales because, well, let's face it, few people have enough money to buy over 1,000 BTC. So let's roll the intro and let's discuss about this. Thanks for joining in, everybody. So, the popular narrative that institutional Bitcoin investors have been leading the 2020 price rally looks to be backed up by OnChain Data. So, Chainalysis, one of the most popular blockchain analytical firms, has released their weekly market intel newsletter, which was yesterday, December 10th. And they have stated that there was an increase in those individuals, the whales, probably institutions. Some of them might be exchanges. Some of them might be just family offices and hedge funds, crypto hedge funds, wealthy investors, billionaires, multimillionaires. Well, the total amount of 1,000 Bitcoins or more, the total amount of these addresses has increased by 302. So 302 new whales. Woo! Which is absolutely crazy to think about, because with just an increase of 17%, sitting now at a record high of 2,052, just the increase of 302, you multiply that times 1,000, that is so much money. You put that into Google with the current prices, 302 times 1,000. Actually, let's just do the math over here. So 302,000 times, let's just say round it up, $18,000. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Just this increase. Do you know how much money these guys have? $5,436,000,000. $5.5 billion worth of Bitcoin. And that is only if every single one of these guys has 1,000 Bitcoin, and that is it. That means some of these individuals or these institutional investors might have 2,000 Bitcoin or even 10,000 Bitcoin. So if I was a betting man, I'm not. I'm against gambling. You guys probably should be against gambling as well. But if I was a betting man, I would say that most of these guys have much more than 1,000 BTC. Probably 99.9% of these addresses don't have just a single, bam, 1,000. And most of these guys, it has been proven, most of these rich individuals investing in Bitcoin and in cryptocurrency usually have multiple wallets, because if they're afraid of getting hacked, or, very small chances unless they do something wrong on their end, but for whatever reason, if they're paranoid and they don't want other people to know how rich they are, then some of these guys might have 1,000 Bitcoin in different wallets. And there's probably a lot of people who have more than 1,000 Bitcoin, but aren't listed on here because they have it spread out within 2, 3, 5, 10, maybe even 100 Bitcoin wallets. This just makes sense. There's a lot of paranoid millionaires and billionaires out there. It is what I would do. I would not keep, if that was the only 1,000 Bitcoin I had, I would not keep it in one wallet. So that means, realistically looking at this, at least there's $10 billion that was added, at least $10 billion that was added over the past week, which is insane to think about, right? It might be 15 billion, it might be 50 billion, we're not really sure, just from these whales, Now, they do make up a significant portion when you're talking about the record high of 2052. That is a lot of money right there. So if we just do the math, 2052 times 1,000 times 18,000. If everyone just had 1,000 Bitcoin, that would be very, very close to $37 billion. Let's just say round it up to $40 billion or even $50 billion, because they definitely have more than 1,000 BTC, all of these 2,052 wallets. And let's refresh. All right, so we're currently priced very close to $18,000 at $17,982.84. And, oh, it just went up a little bit. So the total market cap of Bitcoin right now and the total volume over the past 24 hours is $28 billion, and the total market cap is almost $334 billion. So let's just say $50 billion out of $300 billion. That's 1/6 of the total amount of Bitcoin, the total market cap of Bitcoin. So these whales are big boys, but some of them might have 2,000 BTC, some of them might have 10,000, so it could be $100 billion. And we're not sure how many people own 1,000 BTC separated in multiple addresses. And we've seen in smaller DeFi projects, in smaller cryptocurrency altcoins, where sometimes the developers, which wouldn't really make it so decentralized. Yeah, well, anyway, sometimes the developers, sometimes the team, sometimes people who were involved early on, early investors, or just sometimes a whale popped in and boom, took in a nice cheap shot. They bought low, they sold high, or they're hodling. We've seen with these smaller tokens that sometimes a whale, just a single whale, has so much impact that they can change the price not only for the next hour, but they could change the price for the next few weeks. Now, of course, it would take a lot more to move the price of Bitcoin, but a single whale could move the price for probably an hour if their wallet is big enough. Sometimes they might move it for a day. But usually these rich people, it's not like they're working alone. They have friends, they're talking to people who work at their companies or however made their money. And sometimes there's huge pools that manipulate the prices. Now, of course, it's much more difficult to manipulate the price of Bitcoin this way. But it's just crazy when you start thinking about it all. So we've talked a lot about my opinion, but let's look at this in detail. So the wallets that have been inspected by Chainalysis that are holding more than 5 Bitcoin increased by an astounding 8,842 in 2020. So 5 plus Bitcoin, we're not really sure what that amount is, 5 to 10. It is separated here at 5,948. That is an increase of 5,948 for people who own between 5 and 10 Bitcoin, maybe 6 Bitcoin, maybe 7 Bitcoin. So when we look at the numbers, they're probably mostly around the $100,000 mark or even more. People who own 10 times that to 50 times 1 Bitcoin, that is an increase of 2,356 people. There was a change of 335 people based from 50 to 100 Bitcoin. We've actually lost 89 individuals who had 100 to 500 Bitcoin, and we've lost 10 people who had 500 to 1,000 Bitcoin. But it grew really, really steadily, most likely the institutional investors up by 302, those who had over 1,000. So the big boys. The so-called rich list. Several prominent publicly listed companies such as MicroStrategy and Square, where MicroStrategy actually bought more recently, have diversified their cash holdings into Bitcoin. Even insurers have joined the Bitcoin bandwagon with Massachusetts Mutual Life Insurance. They've invested over $100 million. Pretty crazy. Smaller investors have also been increasing their holdings. This year, wallets holding 5 or more Bitcoins have amassed over 2.4 million coins. That's a lot. That is a lot right there. The number of wallets holding at least 5 Bitcoin has increased by 4%, 8,842, to a grand total of nearly 235,000. 235,000 wallets that hold over 5 Bitcoin. Yeah. That is a lot of millionaires or hopeful millionaires, because to have 5 or more Bitcoin, yeah, that's a lot. 5 Bitcoin currently, 5 times 18,000, that's $90,000. And it's global, so for some people, if they're based, for example, in like Poland or Ukraine or Russia, $90,000 is a lot. And they might have more than 5 BTC. So they might have 120,000. They might have 150, 200, $1 million. yeah, there's a lot of money flowing through. So we have to look at the positives, guys. Look at the facts. Look at the cold, hard facts. How many people have Bitcoin? How many people are hodling on? And the fact that the institutional investors are also growing, we shouldn't really care about a small correction here or there, right? So we are to see what's coming up for the holidays, whether institutional investors will continue to stack their coins or whether they might sell. Some might sell, you know, they've already maybe made millions and millions of dollars and they might be able to retire. It's probably a small amount, but there definitely is that. I actually had a subscriber. I'm not allowed to say who it is, but I was grateful to have a discussion with him. And this individual sold millions of dollars of Bitcoin. This was back during the last great bull market run in 2017, 2018. I think he sold right before. Actually, yeah, he sold below 15,000. He just didn't care anymore. So he sold millions of dollars worth of Bitcoin when it was rising. And sure, he probably could have gotten more money, but he said he's retiring and he didn't live in the US. So for him, that was a lot. That was retirement money. I'm not sure what his age was, but he was definitely older than me. So I wouldn't be able to retire off a few $1,000,000 unless I kept reinvesting that. But for that individual, and there's probably millions of those types of people, where over the past few years or over the next upcoming years, a few $1,000,000, once they make that, see a goodbye. They have various limits. Some people are ready to just sell at 20,000, some people at 21, 25, some people will be, you know, turning into billionaires. So crypto has made some billionaires, baby, and it's mostly due to Bitcoin, but now it's diversifying a little bit. So that is today's video. Let me know what you thought about this. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like, comment, subscribe, and share, and we shall see you guys. I'm going to do a live stream right now. So bye.